Coming up on the world today, Bangladesh holds first election since 2024's deadly uprising that ousted longtime leader Sheikh Hasina. NATO defense ministers meet in Brussels, stressing support for Ukraine remains top of the agenda. Plus, teenage suspect arrested after teacher killed in Thailand school shooting. Welcome everyone to the world today. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. We begin in Bangladesh, where votes are being counted after the country held its first general election since mass students led protests ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in 2024. More than 2,000 candidates are contesting seats in the parliament, though none are from Mr. Hasina's now banned Awami League. The United Nations says up to 1,400 people were killed during the uprising amid allegations of a government-ordered crackdown, claims she denies. The main race pits the Bangladesh Nationalist Party against a coalition led by the Islamist Jamaat al-Islami, allied with a party born of the protest movement. Voters also took part in a referendum on constitutional reforms proposed by the interim government. Nearly 1 million security personnel were deployed nationwide, with results expected to be out by Friday. NATO defense ministers meeting in Brussels have reaffirmed that support for Ukraine remains a top priority, even as the alliance steps up its focus on security in the Arctic. Ministers welcomed the launch of Arctic Sentry, a new enhanced vigilance activity aimed at boosting NATO's presence in the high north. The initiative will coordinate the efforts of all 32 member states under a unified operational strategy. It will incorporate Denmark's Arctic endurance exercises and Norway's upcoming cold response drills, with troops already deployed to the region. Secretary General Mark Rutte said discussions would center on strengthening NATO's deterrence and defense posture while maintaining continued military and political support for Ukraine.
We are already seeing significant increases in Allied defense spending. Investment is up by tens of billions, and we will review progress on the 5% defense investment commitment agreed in The Hague last year. We will discuss enhancing our deterrence and defense posture. That includes integrated air and missile defense, strengthening our command and control, improving our readiness, as well as our ability to deploy and sustain forces through host nation support. We will also take stock of our work to enhance the defense industrial base across the alliance, to ensure that our militaries have the capabilities they need to keep our people safe. All this is essential for our shared security across the alliance, from the south to the high north and Arctic, from the east to the west. NATO is always on duty to deter and defend. This is why we have just launched Arctic Sentry, giving Russia's increased military activity and China's growing interest in the high north. We will also discuss our continued support for Ukraine. As the United States continues to drive efforts to bring the war to a just and lasting end, Russia continues to pursue civilian targets, including energy infrastructure. So it is still essential that allies continue to step up support, including through NATO's Pearl initiative. It is ensuring that essential US equipment is delivered to Ukraine, paid for by allies and partners.
Meanwhile, the UK has pledged an additional £500 million in urgent air defense support for Ukraine. Defense Secretary John Healey announced this on Thursday at NATO headquarters. Mr. Healy, who did not take questions from the media, confirmed the funding as ministers met to discuss NATO's ongoing support for Kyiv amid Russia's invasion. This comes as Prime Minister Keir Starmer faces mounting political pressure at home following two scandals linked to paedophile networks involving former government officials, including his ex-US ambassador and a former communications chief. Analysts say the developments highlight the UK government's simultaneous focus on international defence commitments and a domestic political crisis.
Yesterday I was in the High North, confirming that the UK is doubling its Marines and its major military exercises there. This morning I'm here at NATO, confirming that Britain will play a central part in NATO's Arctic security mission, Arctic Sentry, to strengthen security in the region. This afternoon, I'll be confirming that Britain is providing an extra £500 million in urgent air defence to Ukraine. This is Britain being a force for good in the world, building a new deal for European security within NATO. And I'm proud of the UK's armed forces. I'm proud of the UK's leadership. I'm proud of the UK's commitment to our allies. We will back you. We will defend you. We will fight with you in this new era of threat and hard power.
Asia, a school principal has died following a shooting at Patong Pratan School in southern Thailand. The 17-year-old gunman, who used a firearm reportedly stolen from a police officer, opened fire on Wednesday afternoon in Hat Yai, injuring the principal, Sasifat Simsa Mason, and a female student. Officials say Sasifat later died in hospital, while the student remains in stable condition. Another student who jumped from a window during the siege is also being treated. Police have arrested the suspect after a 2-hour standoff. The teenager is said to have a history of substance abuse and was recently discharged from a psychiatric hospital. The motive remains unclear, though media reports suggest a possible grievance with the teacher. Thailand has seen a number of deadly shootings in recent years, including attacks on schools and public spaces, highlighting ongoing concerns about gun crime and firearm access. And also, an 18-year-old has been named as a suspect in a shooting that killed 8 people and injured dozens more in British Columbia in Canada. Police say Jesse Van Rutselaar was found dead at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot injury. The motive for the attack is not yet known. 6 people were killed and at least 25 others were injured at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. 2 others, the suspect's mother and stepbrother, were found dead at a nearby home. Hundreds of mourners have gathered to exchange comfort and moments of silence in Tumbler Ridge's main square and outside the British Columbia legislature in Victoria. A newly formed mining industry body and advocacy organization, the Africa Gold Council, says it aims to strengthen and transform the gold sector across the African continent. Launched at the 2026 Investing in Africa Mining Indaba in Cape Town, South Africa, the council is expected to help build a more productive, profitable and sustainable gold ecosystem in Africa, moving beyond the export of raw gold towards greater value addition on the continent. Our correspondent, Innocent Samosa, has more.
Key players in the mining industry lauded this week's engagements at the 2026 Investing in African Mining Indaba. This year's event hosted a large capacity under the theme, Stronger Together, Progress Through Partnerships. Meanwhile, the Africa Africa Gold Council says it aims to bring together policymakers, mining stakeholders, investors, and researchers to create a unified voice for Africa's gold industry.
So the Africa Gold Council has been in incubation and in the making for many years. It wasn't just last week that we decided to form, although the timing of our launching here at Mining Indaba is interesting given what we're seeing happening in the gold market. But the reason for our formation came through looking at several gaps that we saw within the gold value chain. And those gaps are, we were looking at how do we solve problems very specific to the continent. And yes, while we have different regional blocks, often the issues, and particularly when it comes to things like artisanal and small-scale gold mining, a lot of those issues are common.
The organization says promoting reliable data transparency and conducting research on gold production can be challenging in some regions, particularly where political uncertainty persists.
So one of the big challenges is that we know that we can explain away roughly about half of Africa's gold production because they're coming from big miners and we know who those folks are. Where the challenge emerges is for the small miners or the informal miners, the ASM miners. There, a lot of work has to be done to convince them to self-report what they're producing. And we know Ghana has done a great job in terms of creating a framework for bringing those miners in from the cold, as it were. And that is, we're studying the Ghana model very closely.
Thank you, sir.
Meanwhile, our attempt to speak to Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, were unsuccessful due to his schedule. As the 2026 Investing in African Mining Indaba draws to a close, we can only hope that stakeholders will leave Cape Town with renewed calls for stronger partnerships, greater transparency, and more value addition across the continent's mineral resources. From Cape Town, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Elsewhere, nearly 30 residents have been evacuated after a hillside landslide struck an apartment building in Ponta da Barça, central Portugal. A large rock rolled down the slope early Wednesday, partially submerging the building in mud and water, damaging a parked car and blocking nearby roads. Civil protection teams moved residents to safety, assessing structural damage and clearing debris. No injuries have been reported. Portugal's Meteorological Institute has issued an orange rain alert for multiple districts, including Porto, Viseu and Braga, warning that ongoing heavy rainfall continues to destabilize the ground. Officials caution that persistent rain has heightened the risk of landslides and structural collapses in vulnerable areas across the country. And still to come on the program. A succession plan is in place as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un chooses teen daughter as heir. Please stay with us. Welcome back. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reportedly designated his daughter Kim Joo-ae as his heir. This is according to South Korea's spy agency. Little is known about Joo-ae, who has been increasingly visible at high-profile events, including a visit to Beijing last year. The National Intelligence Service says her growing presence at official ceremonies and indications that she has voiced opinions on state matters signal her designation as successor. Joo-ae is Kim Jong-un's only publicly acknowledged child. The report suggests he may have an older son. She first appeared on North Korean state television in 2022, inspecting an intercontinental ballistic missile alongside her father. Observers are watching closely whether she attends the North's upcoming party congress, where Pyongyang is expected to outline its priorities on foreign policy, military planning, and nuclear ambitions for the next 5 years. Ahead of the celebration of the Chinese New Year, the Chinese consulate has invited members of the diplomatic corps, the business community and friends of China for a huge celebration in Lagos. But this was a 3-in-1 event that included the Spring Festival and commemoration of 55 years of diplomatic relations with Nigeria. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Amarachi Bani reports.
It is one of the biggest parties in China, and the consulate in Lagos decided to throw one, not only to celebrate the New Year, the Year of the Horse, but to celebrate the Spring Festival in China and 55 years of China's diplomatic relations with Nigeria. Several food stalls are set up to serve the scores of guests, while the cultural troupe is on hand to provide entertainment in music and dance. A number of high-profile guests have been invited. They speak about the deepening relations between China and Nigeria.
Lunar New Year to Nigeria, it's a thing of celebration in terms of the bilateral relationship, in terms of cultural people-to-people exchange, in terms of educational, infrastructural development, more especially in the aspect of the Road and Belt Initiative, that policy of the President Xi Jinping. And if you could remember last year, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in China to attend the FOCAP, which transmitted into that strategic partnership that they signed between Nigeria and China.
There's quite a number of things that we do to do in the area of commerce and also in the area of culture. They are very deep in terms of culture. They're following it with their heart, they're passionate about it, they believe in what they do, and they follow it through. And I also think that we can continue to emulate that and get more of that in our own city as well too.
The Chinese community and Nigerian community now, they are becoming one big family. Their technology, I pray they will spread more here.
Popular TV hosts Isaac and Nneka Moses talk about how Nigeria can learn to diversify interests on the continent and showcase the beauty of culture and tradition.
They are very protective of their culture.
Absolutely.
And their language for them is supreme. Any other language comes second. And I look forward to a day where Nigerian languages will be that supreme to us, the owners.
Wherever you go around the world, you get to see a Nigerian. There's something always unique about him. Just like you find something very unique about the Chinese. Something very unique about the Chinese. The Nigerians stand out wherever they are because of their culture. And when they talk, you know that these are Nigerians.
During a more formal ceremony inside a famous hotel in Lagos, the Chinese Consul General, Yan Yuqing, praises China's relations with Nigeria and highlights the joys of Spring Festival and the Lunar New Year, the Year of the Horse.
China will remain firmly committed to expanding high-level opening up and will share development opportunities with Nigeria, with Africa, with the rest of the world. There is a Yoruba proverb that says, "Abájòwó la fi ń sọ̀yà." There is confidence in unity. Hausa people also says, "Hanudera baya dogre jinka." One cannot utter the city with one hand. Likewise, an Igbo proverb, which is similar to a Chinese proverb, reminds us that unity is strength. In the new year, let us stand united and work hand in hand to contribute to taking China-Nigeria relations to a new height.
The rest of the evening is characterized by Chinese dances, choreographed by Nigerians, benevolent donations to vulnerable groups, and the highlight of the evening, the raffle draws. Amarachi Ubani, Channel Television News.
A Chinese robotics company has staged a historic gala in Shanghai featuring more than 200 humanoid robots performing an hour-long show ahead of the Lunar New Year. Footage shows the robots executing synchronized dance routines, martial arts sequences, acrobatics, and even stunts with fire torches, marking a major step in bringing embodied intelligence from laboratories into entertainment and societal settings. The event showcased the company's production-ready robots, highlighting their reliability and versatility at scale. While humanoid robots have appeared in Spring Festival celebrations before, the large-scale performance represents a significant leap in China's efforts to merge technology with culture and public spectacle. Wow, that was absolutely spectacular. Well, that's it on The World Today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.